we are still talking about the pathway for development of transportation and infrastructure in Africa. Of course, we still have with me the two handsome gentlemen, one at my right and one at my left. They always tell you that when Jesus wanted to die, he had two sinners beside him. Wow. One went with him and the other didn't go. But of course, in the course of the conversation, you would know who is going with me and who is not going. On my right-hand side, I have the esteemed Dr. Osamhanze, and at my left-hand side, I have Moyosore. Adebiyi of Lagos.
And my problem is that I'm on your left.
You see, that is the thing.
I'm on your left. So you set me up. You set me up.
I didn't call any name.
Oh my God.
All right.
I just said something.
We'll have a conversation about this.
What a free ticket I got this morning.
Can you imagine?
By Providence.
Wow.
Well, God loves those who love him.
I do. I really do. All right.
I'm just talking about God loving those who love him. Doctor, before we went on the break, Moyo had asked the question, and you know you were trying to lay a foundation.
A foundation, yes.
Yes, of African leaders who had talked about unity, and you were on Gaddafi. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So Gaddafi made a lot of effort, but unfortunately, a lot of people didn't believe him because, number one, they felt he was a dictator. And being a dictator, and they think, oh, he needed more power. And so he really did not get enough support. Then, of course, recently we also see the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, also making those overtures to see how to put Africa together. And then, of course, there's also a lot of misreading to his effort.
Yes.
And especially because of the role that he's playing in East Africa. And people feel that he's foiling those crises. But in his own thinking, he just feels that Africa needs to be one and there's no need for us to be fighting ourselves. And how do we actually put stabilities in all the trouble spots in Africa, which is, of course, his goal. And I think that's where, of course, the issues about AfCFTA is. Yes. Because we're looking at trading with ourselves. We need those road networks connected. We need port infrastructure connected. We need our airports connected. And that requires a lot of money to do. But for us to be able to do this, of course, the prospect of trade also has to be very high. And I said it the other time here. Many of us, we do primary products, and therefore, the prospect of trading with each other is going to be quite limited. Because those who buy the primary products are principally in Europe or in Asia. So the need for African to deliberately industrialize is what is here. And African leaders must come together, put resources together, even through the African Development Bank, for example, to see how we can, over a space of maybe 30 to 50 years, begin to build an Africa that is working for Africa, not Africa that is working for Europe. And that is actually what the gain of AfCFTA would have been if it is working. That we are seeing that Africa is united by trade, and therefore the prospect of wars are ended, insecurity is taken off the way. But right now, the only thing we shop with ourselves is insecurity, from the Sahel down to the West here, and see a lot of trouble that we are spreading among ourselves, we should not be. And that, again, is as a result of the failure of leadership, especially in these countries of Africa. So once we can deal with the leadership question and then restore trust back to Africa, then, of course, we find that our leaders, we cannot own them. Because if you ask an average Africa, they see their leaders as surrogates of the European powers. Or working for Asia as against them. So until Africans start to see their leaders as working for them, that prospect of a beautiful trade amongst ourselves will still be very, very far off. But I think more importantly is, how are we going to build this trust? And I don't think it's something that is a rocket science. It just requires a lot of simple transparency. That we know that this road that we are constructing is going to cost X billion of dollars. And we know that over a period of time, those who are going to invest in that road are saying, okay, we're going to get something done. I'll give you one example. Somebody was criticizing the Coastal Road recently, was talking about the construction of the Benin-Ore Road. That since 1999, that road has been under construction. And it's not finished. So how are we sure that we are going to be able to do a 700-kilometer of road within the space of about 10 years or thereabout? But the truth is that again, speaking to the character of who we are, that you see, they are doing Ijebu Day to or a portion, and it takes them like 3 or 4 years. And by the time they finish that portion and they are going to or a Edo side, the one that is done in Ijebu Day is already washing off.
Yes.
Because they are not done well.
There's no
And you see, that was the reason why Mahi has been insisting that, look, all the roads, if asphalt is not working for us, why can't we do concrete
Yes.
that can last 10, 15 years and doesn't require repairs? And in that case, you find that we are not spending money on the things that are already done. Yeah. But don't forget, when we are creating, solving our problem, we tend to be creating more problems. I'll give you an example in the Ministry of Works. Now, when you look at the Ministry of Works in Nigeria, there's what they call FEMA.
Yes.
What's FEMA? They call them road maintenance agents. Now, what's the work of FEMA? It's supposed to be maintaining road.
Yes.
I remember we were doing procurement training somewhere in the UAE, and many of them were there, and they said there's a machine that helps you fix road. And it's just a small machine. You put your asphalt there, and it's walking along the road before they become real problem. But what do you see? FEMA will wait for the road to deteriorate so that it can translate into contract award. That's a big problem. So rather than fix road when they have problem, they let it be. But again, because the system, the way it's designed, is not doing well. Something happened some time ago. I just mentioned the Project Salik.
Yes.
Now, the Project Salik says that this road is going to be built, and in Dubai, constructions last between 10 and 20 years. And they tell you that you are the contractor who fixed this road. In 10 years, we don't expect to see a pothole on this road. If we see a pothole on this road, it means you didn't do the work well. You are going to refund the money we paid to you.
Wow.
So what were contractors doing? They go to radio stations, TV stations, to say, this road that is moving from Dubai to Abu Dhabi or to Sharjah, if you see a pothole,
Please.
we will give you 100 dirham for spotting a pothole.
Wow.
What do you think that citizens will be doing?
Pothole spotting.
They will be spotting potholes. And so when they spot a pothole, they call the toll line and they say, I saw a pothole. And they say, you have won 100 dirham. So come and collect 100 dirham. While the man is going to collect 100 dirham, the construction company has gone to patch the place. And government really never sees it. And so the road is in a motorable state all through. But I think until we begin to enforce our SOPs here, some of all these things will not. If a contractor do a road, and after 3 months, that road washed out. In short, such contractor should be imprisoned, not just blackmailed, not just blacklisted.
Should be in prison, should be locked up.
Should be locked up.
That's criminal.
But unfortunately, we can't talk about locked up because this network of fraud that happens. Because the man who is supervising the job that in the first place, who has asked that this job be satisfied and done well, should actually be the culprit. Because in Rwanda, for example,
Yes.
if a road fails, it's not, the primary effort is not on the contractor. The ministry supervisory engineer is the first to go to prison.
Bam. That's it.
And I think these are some of the things that we can do and replicate. So when you go to Rwanda, you see good road network because contractors are doing their work well. You are not spending same money on the same road.
Yes.
Can you just look at it, for example, this Third Mainland Bridge in the last 10 years, how many times we have resurfaced it?
Yes.
So it's wasting resource. The money that would have been meant to build other infrastructure, we are using it to fix because it's the most important route, and therefore we have to concentrate on it. And every year in and year out, we are making budget to make that road motorable because somebody is not doing his work well. Yeah. And I think these are the issues. And I think it's where, of course, for me, somebody like Engineer Umahi needs a lot of encouragement and support rather than criticism. Because he needs to actually say that our roads are done well. If you look at what Dangote did on Apapa Oshodi Road
Fantastic.
with concrete. That road, in the last 5 years, you can't spot a pothole there.
Yes.
And I think that is where we should be. And then, of course, we will be able to save money to build bigger road networks. By that, of course, Africa can be connected, and then trade can happen.
This has been such a beautiful conversation, but unfortunately, time is actually running out. I just think that we need to revisit this topic and bring Doctor back. Of course, minus the fact that we'll have another tea break, and lunch on him. But it has been beautiful. And the last thing I wanted to add, Doctor, before we run off very quickly, is do you think that in Africa, the criticisms from the citizens, usually fueled by political reasons, are some of the reasons why infrastructural development doesn't take place? So let's go back to the Calabar Road. This is a road that is being built. At least I had the privilege of driving through that road in December, through traffic to Lekki. I was from here, I was able to take, I thought I was scared when I was going because of how long the road was, and I was able to bust out at Jakonde. But the same people who are passing through that road are still the same people that are criticizing that government is not doing anything.
Yeah, but I tell you, again, coming back to Africa, Professor Claude Ake, God bless his soul, wrote a book. Walter Rodney wrote one book, he called it How Europe Underdeveloped Africa.
Yes.
So he wrote another book, How Politics Underdeveloped Africa. And I think that book is quite instructive. And what Professor Claude Ake was saying in that book is the fact that in the calculation and in the discussion of public policy in Africa, we have really not emphasized the economic dimension of those controversies. The political correctness has been what has actually been pushing us. Now, so once you look at all of those conversations that we may now quote and unquote citizens' criticism.
Yes.
Because sometimes I watch the media and I see people say citizens of Nigeria. And I'm wondering, so does it mean that only oppositions are citizens? That the people who belong to the godly party are not citizens? So this tells you the way we think. That we say, Nigerians are saying, but you see, also people are contradicting or controverting whatever thing you feel that you're saying.
Yes.
But take, for example, the coastal road. What's the major argument? Some people say, the cost is on the high side. But development partners says, no, the cost is moderate. Because we have looked at the terrain. Because if you see the problem that was on the east-west road going to Port Harcourt,
Yes.
people will have to dig like 10 feet down to remove the bad soil and then have to fill it with laterite sand. That's huge money. Yes. So if you are doing a road in Kodonu, you don't need that because the ground is solid.
Yes.
You just need to put this thing and then put it. But here in Niger Delta, for example, you have to first of all dig. Now you have small rivers that are crossing. Those places have to be bridged.
Yes.
And you know what it takes to bridge a river for the road to pass. Now, nobody is factoring this in as we are thinking that, we are constructing a road. It's going to be on a straight, plain soil. Yeah. And that will say, the cost is this one. So you have to factor in the complexity of the environment where this road is passing. Somebody said, we can't do it because we have been doing east-west road for 27 years. The fact that somebody failed yesterday does not mean we cannot try today.
Yes.
So, and I think those arguments are not valid. But they are necessary because it will help in the capture of state power. So we tell the narrative very skewedly toward ourselves so that people say, when you get into power, you have done it. I ask people from time to time, yes, if you were president today, what would you have done differently?
Exactly.
And of course, really, people don't have answers to it. Because there's a whole lot of constraint. Somebody say, why will you commission 30 kilometers of road? But it's also to demonstrate to people that it is possible. That construction started in March, and by May, they were able to do 30 kilometers. Now, if you check it, March to May, how many months? About 3 months interval. Yeah. So which means if you can do 30 kilometers in 3 months, you can calculate the number of kilometers that we can do. And you see that definitely by 2031, of course, as it's projected, it is possible for that road network to be completed if there's a commitment and effort to do that thing. But somebody must have to bear the card somehow. And I think that's what the administration is doing. And we must commend them for the jobs that they are doing.
Talking about belling the cats, Moyo, it's time for you to bell the cats. I want you to give me your final words on the show for today, because it's time for us to go. They say we should go.
I mean, this is Africa, and you know, Africa, we have a lot of resources, a lot of things that we are blessed with, even just from the waterways and the topography, the landscape, the people. I think that it's important that we focus on everything that puts us, you know, at the forefront and puts us at our best. And transportation and logistics is one of them. We have to work hard. We also have to clean our streets. And I'm not just talking about the dirt. I'm talking about the agberos. Yes, there's no mega city where a thing like that is acceptable. I'm only saying that because we didn't get to talk about it. I don't think there's any mega city where stuff like that is acceptable. It's an unsafe practice and many other things like that. So let's do our best to make Africa the Africa of our dreams.
Of course, coming from a man who was about, I think, was it 150,000 agberos took from you when your car broke down?
Oh my God!
This is why it's very
You just outed me.
because he was very personal about it. Dr. Please, your final words on the show today towards the topic and Africa.
Well, those who have responsibility governing Africa must understand that it's not a child's play and require a whole lot of brain work and thinking, and we must be creative in terms of creating solutions for Africa. Talking politics is not enough, but we must sit down, look at the drawing board, look at what our problem is, and then strategically plan how we can make Africa grow and become the bride of the committees of all nations. Africa has prospect, and as we speak today, it's remained the only continent with prospect. And I think the other people need to come to Africa, and therefore the leaders of today has a lot of work in their hand to create that enabling environment for people to come. I remain yours, Osamhanze Idahosa.
All right, so as I'm about to leave you, I leave you with the words that say that think Africa, buy Africa, and be Africa. My name is Swift Aderinto. Don't forget, you could always watch this show from 8:30 in the morning, of course, to 9:30. And this is Just Africa. See you same time, same station tomorrow from 8:30. Be Africa, think Africa, and buy Africa. Have a lovely day.